Good afternoon, servant leaders of Wisconsin, servant leaders of the world, all of you servant leaders who are tuning in to this slowdown, which is the Power of Positivity, part 3 in a 4-part series. We're glad to have you here. My name is Joe Kinninger, president of Profit Company and founder of the Servant Leadership of Wisconsin group that meets here in Northeast Wisconsin. And now we're meeting by Zoom because that's how the world is. And so they may stop us from getting together, but nothing will stop the message from getting out. And so we're committed to the message and we are moving forward. You know, I think of the power of positivity. I couldn't think of a better time in our existence to have this message. To me, positivity is so closely related to emotional intelligence. It's something that we coach and teach, and in our leadership programs, emotional intelligence is basically the bomb.com. It is proven that if you hire leaders with high emotional intelligence versus high IQ, then those leaders will prosper and grow. Studies have been done in ad nauseam around this idea of emotional intelligence. But another word that the servant leadership community would use to describe emotional intelligence is your character. And your character is something we all work on. You know, we're all working, we never arrive at having the perfect character or the perfect emotional intelligence. We always have a destination. It's a journey to increase. And so today's message, especially in a world that's been having violence across the country and the whole COVID-19 deal. I mean, just a lot of stuff. And I just think there is always a lot of stuff going on in the world that's not right, and it still happens. And so this idea of keeping a clear mind is really how I interpret positivity. Today, Jen will be continuing her 4-part series, as I mentioned, and focusing on tuning in. She's going to talk about tuning in, the idea of mindfulness. And when you hear her talk about mindfulness, I really want you to think about emotional intelligence because it's at its crux. And it's so important that we understand ourselves. And it's so important that we have control of our emotions. You know, sometimes we see young individuals, right? Teenagers, young 20s, heck, even 30s and 40s. But when we're young, we're trying to get over disappointment. We're trying to anticipate being let down. You ever done that before? You anticipate being let down. Like, well, this probably won't happen, but, and you say, and an adult might say, why are you so negative? Why are you assuming it's not going to happen? Well, because if it doesn't happen, then I won't be disappointed. That's kind of the mentality when someone is just starting to get going on their emotional intelligence journey. It's really seeing in your mind's eye what's possible and what you want, and trusting that the world will bring it to you. Jen talked about the law of attraction. That is so true. It's not some mystic Eastern philosophy, though they do talk about that. This is actually science can prove it. We have the science to prove it. If anyone's interested to know how the law of attraction happens through a scientific lens, give me a call. I've been studying it for 12 years, and leaders can tap into the laws of science to create influence and goodwill and establish just tremendous positive growth in themselves and others by tapping into the laws that already exist in science and the laws of positivity, where like attracts like. The second thing she talks about is experiences. So you're going to learn about she's talking about the 7 areas of positivity, or the 7 laws of positivity. One of these are experiences, and she talks about creating a gratitude journal. And I believe that a life worth living is worth recording. Some of you are subscribed to my Wisdom on Wednesday. Now, I've been writing Wisdom on Wednesdays since 2004. I think it was February 28th was my very first one. I didn't really know what I should write about or what I should do. I just started writing. And what I found is that when I wrote about what was on my mind that week, I was able to relive it. I was able to make connections I was able to teach wisdom and go, oh my gosh, I did learn something from that. I think the most magical thing about writing down your life and your thoughts is really for the next generation. I write about my children. I have written about my children. Now they're teenagers and we have young adults as well. And to go back to those writings to see what was on my mind or what inspiration I received from a 5-year-old, for me is priceless. It's awesome. And one of the most powerful experiences I had with my 3 girls was I came into my office one day and they had quotes about anything about the girls that I was inspired by. They took a marker. This was about 4 or 5 years ago, and I came in my office, and it was lessons I learned from my girls. You know, like every get together should be a sleepover, and I had all these different rules through the years of learning from my girls, and they researched all my articles and searched for their names, and when the names popped up, they received this information, and it just filled my heart with love, with amazement. And it made me realize the importance of recording, because a life worth living is worth recording. So journaling is a really big deal, and I really want to encourage you to do that. I don't think of it so much as a diary as just a reflections of your life of where you are right now. So without further ado, I want to introduce my friend Jen Endries. She actually is going to do a great job introducing herself, but Jen is one of our co-founders of Servant Leaders of Wisconsin. She was there from the beginning, helping us create a foundation of how we could keep spreading this message throughout our community as a way to give back, and as a way to have community, and as a way to bring people together of like-mindedness. And I'm really excited to have her continue her 4-part series. And so without further ado, here's my friend Jen.
Thank you, Joe, for that wonderful introduction. And thank you for all the hard work that you've been doing with Servant Leadership of Wisconsin and helping us to create this movement alive within our community. It's really been an honor and a joy to be working with you as we continue to grow the servant leaders message throughout our communities. So welcome back, everyone. As we get started today, we are in our 3rd session in our 4-part series, How to Bring Positivity into Your Day Every Day. My name is Jen Endries. I'm the current academic dean at the Green Bay campus and interim Northern Regional Dean at Rasmussen College, as well as the owner and founder of Gen Ed LLC. And I'm happy today to let you know we're going to dive into 2 more habits of the 7 most powerful habits of positivity. And those 2 new habits include the power of tuning in and the power of experience. But I want to also let you know, today I want to be the highlight of your day. I want to bring a little bit of sunshine. I want to talk about positivity and how to share that with others. And we're going to do this by taking an even deeper dive into habit 4 and 5 of the 7 habits of powerful positivity. So as we get started today, of course, I'm going to go in and share my screen so that you have the opportunity to follow along as I guide us through our conversation today. So today, this beautiful June 18th, my first question to you is, why is positivity important? You know, when you think about it, a positive attitude really helps us to be able to cope under really stressful situations, which I think we can all say we all have been under as of recent. Your attitude is also a form of expression of yourself. You can choose to be happy, positive, optimistic, or you can choose to be pessimistic, critical, negative, and you can choose to either have a negative outlook or a positive outlook on life. I choose to have that positive outlook on life. But admittedly, sometimes we do hit a brick wall while training and while trying to maintain our mind to continue that positive attitude. So I want you to remember that you are the one with the power. You are the one who can create the habit to bring more positivity in your life. You can decide to live a positive life. See the good in any situation and don't sweat the small stuff. what I want you to remember is to keep your chin up and smile as much as you can. And remind yourself, life is only as good as you make it. So before we dive into habit 4 and 5, let's do a quick review of habits 1 through 3. We started out our conversation in week 1 talking about the power of positive thinking and that law of attraction, how like attracts like. And then we went into habit number 1, was the focus on the power of the people. And I had asked you to come up with the 5 most positive people that you want to surround yourself with. They could be current people in your lives or ones that you want to build a relationship with, a deeper, richer relationship with, so that they can help you be more successful. So hopefully you've been doing some self-development and working on those relationships as you've explored who those top 5 are. Then we also talked about habit number 2, which was the power of words. And in here, I asked you to self-reflect and to really try to take that negative self-talk out of your day-to-day. We all have it, and it is hard to do. But I asked you to really take a count on how many times do you say, at least, I can't, if only, and how can you remove that vocabulary from your day-to-day. So I'm sure some of you did a tally mark and found that you probably say it a little more often than you'd really like to hear yourself say it. And some of you may have not had any tick marks and said, you know what, I'm pretty good. I'm keeping with that positive train of thinking. So again, it's about eliminating that negative self-talk. Really want you to focus on that. And then habit number 3 was our power of reading. And here's where we talked about just how those books can have power in our thought process, whether it's a professional development book or whether it's a fantasy or a detective or a murder mystery or a comedy or a romantic novel that we're just reading to get away from, to kind of create an awareness and a presence that not only helps us advance our vocabulary, but it helps us become more creative and more innovative because we're living in that world of that book and that reading. And that helps us be more positive as well. Today, we're going to talk about the 4th habit, which is the power of tuning in. And I call it mindfulness. You are always trying to be normal, and you will never know how amazing you can be. Maya Angelou, one of my favorites. Tuning in at a higher consciousness can make a massive difference in your ability to create positive thoughts. What this really means is just getting to know yourself on a deeper level. And you can practice techniques, you can practice this habit to tap into that subconscious mind as well as your conscious mind. So some of the best positive thinking exercises focus on meditation and mindfulness. And I know some of you already know how to do these. Even basic breathing exercises can induce calmness and more receptiveness. So we're actually going to try 2 exercises today. So in the spirit of self-care, in the spirit of bringing some of my yogi techniques into the fold as well, I want you to think about how you can set aside 10 minutes to try to focus on deep breaths through your nose and through your mouth. So my challenge for you is 10 minutes, but let's try it right now. So what I want you all to do is just settle into your seat. Make sure those feet are flat on the floor. And I want you to close your eyes. Now the beauty here is no one sees you. No one else is on camera besides me. So close those eyes. And I know all these thoughts are rushing into your head, so I really want you to still the mind where you can. Acknowledge the thoughts. But to practice that breathing technique, we take a deep breath in through the nose. And then we hold that breath at the top. And then we exhale out nice and loud through the mouth. So let me demo for you. Deep inhale in. Hold at the top. And then exhale out. Feel that release. This helps to settle our mind. It helps us to get rid of all the extraneous thoughts that are clouding our thinking. And it is natural for us to get distracted during an exercise like this. But try not to let the random thoughts drift. Rather acknowledge them, give them the attention they deserve, and then settle back into the mind. So again, a deep inhale in through the nose. Hold at the top. And then exhale out through the mouth. Again, you're feeling that release. Take note of all the sensations and how healthy that felt. And we'll gradually open those eyes and bring your attention back to our presentation here today. Sometimes not an easy task when we're asked to settle our minds. Sometimes when you think about that 10 minutes, and set a timer to that 10 minutes to work through these breathing exercises, it helps release all those distractions, and it just gets us back to a place of good. I'm going to share with you another example. I had shared this book with you in our first session called The Year of Self-Love. It's by S.L.O.W, and every day it gives something to think about, and it's really been part of my intentional work day to day. But I'd like to read you an excerpt around what our book really focuses on as it relates to meditation. And what our thought asks us to do is discover the wondrous power of meditation. Meditation helps us achieve a more grounded connection with all the principles of self-love. And I love this. Here are the examples of self-love: courage, trust, resilience, growth, forgiveness, empathy, nourishment, truth, and connection. These are all things that we've been talking about through servant leaders. There are books, there are apps, there are online videos and courses that teach meditation. You could probably find some local meditation classes too, as well as meditation is always added into a yoga practice. But honestly, you can do this yourself by just sitting quietly and being still. And even if you're keeping those eyes open or closed, you're letting the thoughts pass through your mind, flowing with the rhythm of your breath. And meditation can be that basic. The hardest part of our own self-care is practicing that meditation, because it's very difficult for us to still the mind. But when you do get used to meditation, you can try further techniques. One other that you could try involves imagining yourself gradually filling up with a golden light. And you feel that light start from your toes, working to the top of your head, and it warms you as you go. Just creates a visual that goes along with the meditation. Some people see it as like molten liquid versus that golden light, and others really see it as a golden glow. Some people use orange, some people use red, some people use their favorite color, but it's that color that brings warmth as you're doing that visualization to really still the mind. And the goal is that when you focus on that breath and when you open those eyes again, or you bring your awareness back, that you should feel more optimistic, more energized, and here it is, more positive. So on days when that positive thinking gets a little harder, when we've hit that brick wall, I want you to try to reverse that negativity by doing some meditation, by picturing your body leaving in the form of a dark cloud. This technique is really best followed by watching that breath, by replacing that negativity with those positive thoughts. So I want to talk a little bit more about mindfulness, or this power of tuning in. And what I think is very creative is really thinking about that power of tuning in and asking yourself the question, is your mind full, or are you being mindful? Mindfulness practices such as meditation help us to increase our ability to regulate emotions, decrease stress, anxiety, depression, and in turn, it helps us create that positivity and that happiness. And as we become more present in our lives and in relation to others, it can help us to make better decisions in our job, better decisions in our life, and honestly, just really have a more engaged life. So what exactly is mindfulness? Mindfulness is the act of consistently focusing on your mind in the present moment without judgment and without attachment to the moment. It can help us become more aware of what is going on internally and externally. We become more present to the right now, right? We've talked about this over this past year. How can we be present in the now? How can we embrace the now? That's mindfulness. We can create this habit of tuning in anytime, anywhere, and while doing almost anything, just by observing what's happening around you. And as you observe what is happening around you, take that opportunity to describe what you see in your mind, and then participate fully in the experience. Let go in the moment, and then you'll be present. It's a lot to take in for habit number 4. Probably one of the toughest ones, acting in mindfulness, being in the present and the now. But this can be done by creating the habit of meditation and easy breathing. Next, let's take the opportunity to have some discovery around habit number 5, the power of experience. And within the power of experience, we're going to talk about 2 elements of gratitude and moments. We're going to talk a little bit about gratitude and a little bit about moments that we create from an experience perspective. When we think about gratitude, gratitude is such a powerful emotion. It is part of our self-care. And in any habit that we cultivate, it really helps us to create a positive mind. The more grateful that we are when we think about gratitude, you might immediately focus on your biggest achievements, your positive experiences in your life. For example, promotions, qualifications, weddings, births, all that great stuff that happens. Often, though, we take much of our lives for granted, overlooking the fact that there are so many more reasons than just the big things to be grateful for. However, if we harness the power of experience with the power of positive thinking, we can begin to see the incredible things that happen every day. So I love a gratitude journal, and I think this is a great idea for self-care. A gratitude journal is one of the most effective ways to make the most power and take the most power out of each one of your experiences. So get yourself a notebook, maybe you create yourself a Word document, maybe it's a PowerPoint with pictures in it. But you enter sources of positivity on a daily basis and really reflect on feeling grateful for those things. One of the unique things that I did for my husband this past year was I created a gratitude journal, and I started it last January. And every day I wrote down 3 things as to why I was grateful for him. 3 things that he did, said, maybe it was a moment in time. And that was his Christmas present this past year. And now every day on the day of the week, he gets to read what I thought I was grateful for the year before. A nice reminder, a nice way to connect, and a nice way for the 2 of us together to continue that positive relationship in our lives. The aim is really to focus on the positive every day, rather than just focusing on the big things. And you want to keep those big things in there. But when you focus on those little things, you're going to see that most of our days are ultimately very positive. For example, you might include in there something beautiful that you saw, maybe a moment of kindness or tenderness that you experienced, maybe somebody that made you laugh, maybe something that made you laugh at yourself, or some precious time that you took just to relax. Or we'll bring in habit number 4, to meditate. But when you're working on that positive mindset, it is crucial that you make room to be grateful for yourself. So when you write in your gratitude journal or in your Word doc or you create a PowerPoint, challenge yourself to include at least 1 entry that's just about you. Just about you, right? That goes to that negative and positive self-talk as well. This might be something big that you've done, that you felt, or that you contributed, or your experiences, but you're going to write down something about you. On other days, you might be grateful for your health, or for a feature or a skill or a strength that helps you be more confident. The key idea here is just to develop another habit that encourages that self-directed positivity, because this is all about self. Your power of positive thinking was going to help you level up then to help to create this to be a daily habit and having those positive thoughts. So when I talk about the power of experience, I wanted to talk about the power of gratitude, but I also want to talk about the power of moments, because moments matter. Research by Fast Company suggests that people's most positive moments or experiences share traits in common, such as that elevation of being lifted out of the ordinary, the traits that provide insight and connection. If we understand what powerful moments are made of, we can be intentional about creating more amazing experiences for ourselves. Again, that's our power, that's our choice. And again, here, I'm not going to look through rose-colored glasses. I do recognize that moments are not created equal, right? Our experiences day to day, moment to moment, are mostly forgettable. And occasionally they're remarkable. But what about the experiences in the in-between? What if we just did not remember the standout experiences, but we instead made them? We can be the designers of moments that deliver that positivity, that optimism, that insight, that connection. These are the exceptional minutes, the exceptional hours, the exceptional days that we create. These are the moments that make life most meaningful. It's that smile. It's the tenderness. It's the kindness. It's the act of caring. It's the act of learning. It's the act of becoming informed. And it's the act of sharing in all that we've been through in recent times. And these are the moments that are ours to create. Ours to create. So today, work hard to create those habits. Work hard to create that opportunity of tuning in, of being mindful. Remember, are you being mindful or is your mind full? Work on creating those experiences. Start to journal all that you are grateful for. Maybe it's a person, maybe it's a place, maybe it's a thing, or maybe it's just all about you and what you bring to the table. And then celebrate those moments. Although I don't want you to sweat the small stuff, I also want you to celebrate the small moments. Yeah, we're going to celebrate the ones that are remarkable, but let's also share and celebrate the ones that are small, yet so intentional and so impactful in others. So we've got some work to do, right? We're all working on creating more positivity in our life and bringing more positivity into our life and being our best self and bringing that every day through positivity and working to create those tiny habits. So continue to work on those tiny habits. Today is your day to go out there and create more positivity. Today is your day to go out there and give people that smile, that sunshine. Today is your day to shine in that positivity, to rid of self-talk, and to have a positive impact, not only in yourself, but on someone else, to touch the soul of another. Thank you for your time again today. I hope I did bring a little bit of sunshine. And when we meet next week, we're going to dive in to our habit 6 and our habit 7. I'm looking forward to reconnecting with you in a week.
Jen, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, sharing your information, and inspiring us to not forget the power of positivity. I want to thank all of you folks for showing up because 90% of success is just showing up. That's what I tell my kids. There's so much to know in this world. And so when you're open-minded people show up to see what morsel could you take away from today's information that can help you in your leadership journey. So that's what our goal is with Servant Leaders of Wisconsin. We appreciate you showing up, and we'll see you next week for the fourth and final part of the Power of Positivity presented by Jet Endries. That's next Thursday at 3 o'clock. We'll see you then.